How do you make a great intake better? I'm going to show you guys today. What's up, guys? Thank you for watching. Welcome back to another video. Today we have a very simple but hopefully effective mod. If you guys watched recently, and if you haven't already, I'll put a link in the description below, but I just installed the PRL high volume intake for the FL5 Type R. Big difference in Intake Air Temps, which was my biggest concern on the FL5 Type R. It's notorious for having high intake air temps. So I just had my first track day with the intake and with a couple of other new mods. Okay. The PRL intake did make a noticeable difference. It did. But track temps are a different ball game from street temps. Okay, let me explain. On the street, you have cars driving, and as they drive on the road, it heats up the surface a little bit, but most of the heat that you get on a racetrack is from race cars just ripping through the racetrack and heating up the surface. And if you're surrounded by cars, or you have some cars in front of you, they're ripping through the gears, they're generating a lot of heat. So just to give you an example, it could be, let's say, a 65-degree ambient temperature day at the racetrack, and the track temps will be closer to 100. Like, it can be that big a difference. So managing intake air temps, especially on the FL5 Type R, is ever the more important. And that's where you're really going to unlock some of the horsepower potential too, is by controlling those intake air temps. So why am I rambling on? Because the PRL by itself was definitely a great change. Doesn't mean that it can't use even a little bit more of a boost, right? So check this out. I have my car, or my front bumper anyways, taken off because, well, I had a boost leak that I had to find from yesterday, my last track day at Sonoma. Kind of a bummer. It kind of put a hamper on my track day, but nevertheless, that's not what we're here to talk about today. Here's a PRL high volume intake. Fantastic system. Love it so far. Sounds amazing. This is your factory, I'll call it air dam system. Okay. So if you didn't know, or if you've never taken your front bumper off, this rubber piece right here directs air not only into the radiator behind it, and in my case the oil cooler and the radiator, but also grabs air and pushes it into the intake. Okay, it goes up through here, up through there, and then into the intake. Not bad. Not bad. It can definitely be better. So, hence today's video, we've got the 27-1 Intake Snorkel. Pretty cool. Pretty, looks like a pretty simple device, and hopefully very effective. So this is supposed to go right here. So it replaces this. So we'll get into it in a second on the install, but just wanted to show you guys the raw product itself. And by the way, I got this and a lot of my mods from Two Step Performance, guys. If you're looking for any of the mods that I have on my car, including this high volume intake, all the PRL stuff, I mean, most of the stuff on my car, the only thing I really didn't get from them is my AST Moton suspension. That is a Doteki Spec'ed suspension. You can get that from Doteki, but everything else you can get from Two Step Performance. So if you're interested in getting anything for your Type R, 10th or 11th gen, and the new Acura Type S, I'll leave a link in the description below. It also helps out the channel if you use that link. Full disclosure, but if you want to help support the channel, get some cool stuff for your car, check it out. Anyways, back to the video. Okay, so here's the snorkel. Here's some hardware. Let's see what this is all about. All right, here's the hardware. Looks like a couple of brackets, a tab, some screws, washers, basic stuff. It really shouldn't be that complicated, but you know, 27 won. I can't say that I've really used a lot of their products in the past, but I've heard a lot of great things about this company, and I kind of like their philosophy. I mean, they're really trying to redefine, or maybe not redefine, but kind of bring back some of that special field treatment you get from aftermarket parts, and make stuff with a purpose. Very much like PRL. Actually, I really like what PRL does. Obviously, I've said that a million times, but 27 won has a pretty nice focus too. If you look at their about page, kind of tells you what they're about, and I really like what they're doing over there. So anyways, it's really cool. I mean, these things matter, but you get this on the box, and inside you have instructions and how to get to the instructions. It's very clearly labeled. It takes all the guesswork out of it. You know, I do appreciate detailed instructions, but holy moly, 27 won. Like, you want me to really mask the edge of my bumpers so I don't scratch anything? Yeah, ain't nobody got time for that, okay? We're just gonna dive right into it. If there's an issue along the way, I'll figure it out. All right, so there's what it looks like without the air dam, the factory air dam, which is just rubber. So now, somehow, some way, you got to use these brackets that bolt up somewhere here, I think, and then this goes right all up in there somehow. Here's where the trial and error comes in. Okay, I'm simplifying this whole process for you guys. All right, so check this out. Here's a snorkel, okay? Emblem side down, okay? The brackets, I already oriented them the way they need to bolt on. So the longer one, this is longer than this side. The longer one is going to be on the left side. The shorter one is going to be on the right side with the tabs sticking up, okay? These tabs. Tab. Okay, and then they bolt on to each side of the snorkel with the emblem of this touching the ground using the supplied hardware. Got it? Good. That's what it should look like. And you put the bolts in, but you leave the brackets a little wobbly, just like that. Okay. And then this is going to slide underneath this bracket, and you're going to use those two bolts right there to bolt this in. So I took the bracket off completely. Now I understand what's kind of going on with this. You take the bracket out completely because this is going to sit here underneath the bracket. You're going to bolt the bracket back onto this, but that's going to mean that this side needs a spacer because you have this extra piece of metal here. And that's what these washers are for. So just take note of that. These are going to go right there and there before you bolt the bracket back on, so it's spaced out correctly with this. That's what it should look like. So spacers are under here and under that bolt to make sure it's spaced out correctly for the new bracket that's here. Now this is still loose, so you just got to tighten this up. Now one thing to note that's different, they give you this body clip, which we saw earlier. There's a hole for the body clip right there, but I believe that is for the Type S bumper, because, or yeah, it could be for the Type R too, but I took this shrouding out. There's a shroud that goes right here when I did the tow hook install. So you might still have yours, so you might still be using that body clip, but for me, since I don't have the plastic shroud that goes here, let me see if I can find it so I can show you guys what I'm talking about. It's back there. I'm not climbing through this mess to go get it, but it's underneath my wing in the back. So that thing would normally sit right here, and then you probably use this clip to clip into it, but I don't have it, so c'est la vie. All right, that is pretty much all the way done. Support bracket is in, everything is tightened down. Because I don't have the body clip here, it's probably overkill, but I just Loctited the nuts, the bolts, and just a little bit of Loctite up here too. So the previous step, it wasn't really necessary on the PRL. I don't know if it would be different on the OEM intake, but you didn't really need to loosen this. There was no real need for it, so just keep that in mind. You can see it right here. So that's a lot bigger than the factory one that was sitting up here behind this bumper lip, and a lot smaller. Now, I want to note something, okay? I think this is a great mod, but I don't think I would recommend it unless you have an aftermarket radiator. And the reason being is you're taking away some of the airflow away from the radiator that's behind it, which is fine for street driving if that's what you mainly do. But if you track your car, I wouldn't recommend doing it without having a really good radiator behind it, because my water temps are okay. They could definitely be better, but they're okay on the racetrack. Blocking part of it with the snorkel, I don't know if that's going to change it any. That's yet to be seen. But if you have a factory radiator, no bueno on the racetrack. So that's the only thing I'll note. You know, definitely if you're going to do this mod and you track your car, have a really good aftermarket radiator, like a PWR radiator. In my opinion, they make the best ones. So, and that's what I have at the PWR race spec radiator. Okay. So we'll see how it goes over the next few days. We'll see how it does on the next track day. I'll keep an eye on the IATs and see if that's changed any. But that's it for today's video, guys. Thank you for joining me. If you haven't already and you like this stuff, please like and subscribe. Share the content. It really helps the channel grow. That's what I'm looking to do over the next, well, forever. And I appreciate every single one of you. If you guys want any of this stuff, links are down below to Two-Step Motorsports, Two-Step Performance, rather. And that's it. Until next time, stay hungry, stay fast, stay tuned. I'm Michael Baxi now.
Okay, I've been working like 3 jobs. Probably why I never see ya. Probably why I never have time for the fake friends that won't be ya. Oh God, I've been running now. Up early when the sun is out. Not setting out my own soul, but those real ones, they coming out. Oh, look who's reaching out. Old friends wanna feature now. They don't work, so they need it free. Ooh, you reaching out from the west side of that old town.